In the infirmary, the young boy had gone, but Sister Irene was worried about Janie. Her wounds had turned a deep red, and the color was spreading across her back. She needed to go into town and see a doctor, which wouldn't be possible until the next day at the earliest. Sister Irene fretted over the best way to keep her stable, doctoring her as best she could. The silent girl of the previous night now writhed and moaned, unable to find a comfortable position. Janie was cold without covers, but in unbearable agony when anything touched her back. We tried to bathe her, but that was painful too. I spent the early part of the night waking intermittently to her moans. Sister Irene sat on her bed, and at some point in the night I noticed that her brother had arrived. I woke the next morning before the wake-up bell and realized I'd had a few hours of uninterrupted sleep. Sister Irene was no longer at Janie's bedside, but I could see the form of her brother lying beside her. Glancing at my watch, I was relieved to see that it was still a half hour before the wake-up bell, so I went down to Janie's bed to wake him and get him back to his dorm. He wasn't asleep, and I was surprised to see that Janie's brother was my Bobby. That was why Janie looked so familiar. She was the little girl that Bobby waited for by the fence at recess. Bobby lay with one arm slung protectively across his sister's frail body. His eyes were red with tears. "Bobby," I whispered, "you have to go back now. The bell will be ringing soon." "No," he said, "I'm staying here." I heard Sister Irene's soft footsteps behind me and turned to her for support. "It's all right," she said. "He can stay." She sat on the bed and placed a hand on Bobby's head, as though in benediction. They were a silent threesome, Bobby, Sister Irene, and the small, still form of Janie on the big bed. A horrible thought stopped me from protesting this further. It couldn't be. But when the wake-up bell rang its loud and strident call, and nobody moved, I sat down beside them in despair. It couldn't be. But it was. The infection that had given Janie so much pain had been too much for her small body. She had died in the early hours of the morning. I never thought she was that badly off. I would have insisted that we find a way into town if I'd even dreamed she was that badly off. Sister Irene looked at me with eyes that asked for forgiveness, for understanding. "Of course you would have, Sister Irene. You take wonderful care of the children. They know that too. We all would have worked to find a way to get her into town. It's not your fault. It's nobody's fault." They may have been the right words, but they didn't help. Her face was ashen, and she clutched her rosary with white-knuckled force. She turned back to Bobby, who was sitting up, his small shoulders hunched as he stared at his sister, her tiny body barely perceptible under the white cotton sheet. We all stared, a hushed group, devastated by the unexpected horror of Janie's death. The silence was shattered by a voice that was even more strident than the wake-up bell. "Robert Martindale? What are you doing here? You are not allowed here at this hour." Sister Irene stood up to block Brother Francis in his march down the row of beds. He pushed past her, and in a breach of etiquette serious enough to stop him in his tracks, she grabbed his arm. He stood 6 feet tall to her diminutive 5'2". Towering over her, he glared. 2 breaches of the rules already, and he had barely entered the room. "That's his sister on the bed. She died last night." Brother Francis had the decency to sag, just a bit, and his face softened, just a bit. But it wasn't enough. "He has to join the others for breakfast. There's nothing he can do now. Nothing he can do for her, but he needs some time. It will do him no good to sit and stare at his dead sister. He needs to get back into his routine, especially now. Especially now, he needs some time with his sister. He won't get another chance. You know he won't." Brother Francis looked at Sister Irene, a moment of indecision crossing his face, but it quickly disappeared, and he returned to the resolute assurance with which he had entered the room. "Bobby, get up off the bed and come with me. Your sister is with God and the angels now. There is nothing more you can do for her."